Hi and welcome to this weekly review from Lisburn Distillery TV. I'm Maeve Brennan.
And I'm Colin Hopkins, and on today's episode we have some great news regarding sponsorships for not only Lisburn Distillery but also for the Premier Intermediate League.
Later today we'll hear more of Managing Director of the Northern Ireland Football League, Andy Johnson.
And finally we will be reviewing this week's forthcoming fixtures, which will include Lisburn Distillery's first home game of the season.
To start tonight's show, we're delighted to announce some great sponsorship news for the club.
And the first part of that great sponsorship news is the fact that McCombs Coach Travel, who have been our main sponsor since 2013-14, will continue to be the official club sponsor for this season. Our thanks go to Rodney and Caroline McComb for their ongoing support.
Secondly, we're pleased to confirm that the award-winning Ecclesfield Distillery will remain as our back of shirt sponsor for the 2017-2018 season, as well as continuing to sponsor the popular Ecclesfield Distillery Player of the Month Award. Massive thanks then to Shane Braniff and his team at Ecclesfield Distillery for their continued support.
The club would also like to say thanks to Stephen McCosh of Stephen McCosh's Funeral Directors on the Shankill Road in Belfast for helping the club on a number of fronts, including the Under-20 development team kit and first team training gear.
And finally, our thanks also goes to Scaffolding Company, Aztec Scaffolding Offshore Crescent in Belfast, who are also supporting the club this season. Thank you to William Simpson and his team for that. So Colin, it's great news.
Yeah, very much so. Without sponsorship, local football would really struggle, and I know we as a club rely on it quite heavily, so it's a massive thank you to each and every one of those guys who have decided to sponsor the club throughout the course of the season. If you'd like to actually help Lisburn Distillery yourself, as an individual or indeed as a business, the address on the screen below, the email address, just drop us a line. We'll be glad to hear from you, and we'll get back in touch and let you know how you can sponsor the club through your company. Another important sponsorship announcement was made just a couple of weeks ago with the news that Bluefin Sport will be sponsoring the Championship and the Premier Intermediate League this season.
Understandably, the league's managing director, Andy Johnson, was delighted with the deal. Lydia caught up with him recently at the National Stadium. Here's what he had to say.
So Andrew, you are the Managing Director of the Northern Ireland Football League, and we've recently announced that we have a new sponsor on board. How exciting is that for you as the Managing Director?
It's fantastic for us. It's fantastic for the clubs involved. I think bringing in a company like Bluefin Sport will add much weight and credibility to the leagues. And I think it's something that whenever you have a title sponsor on board, I think it adds more hype, more promotion to the leagues. We just can't wait till it starts. When we spoke to Bluefin Sport to begin with, they bought into our vision of how we want to grow football in Northern Ireland over the next 3 years. So we're glad that not only have we a sponsor, but we have them on a relatively long term for 3 seasons, something to build on.
Do you think that clubs from the Premier Intermediate League and the Championship have really been calling out for this? It's been quite a wee while since there's been a sponsor on board, isn't that right?
Yeah, no, I think it's fair to say that every time we have a meeting of those leagues and those clubs, it's one of the first questions they ask, and quite rightly and understandably so. So it's something we've been working very hard on. We've been very, very aware that it's something we had to achieve for the clubs. So we're delighted that we have actually done that and we've announced it. For us now, it's about how we build on that. We have all of our main competitions sponsored. We've Danske Bank Premiership for another 3 years, the Bet McLean League Cup for 3 years, and now we have Bluefin Sport for the Championship and Premier Intermediate League. But I think for us as an organisation, it's important that we look beyond that. We look slightly more ahead of that and see how we can actually maximise all the commercial opportunities for the benefit of the clubs.
In terms of the actual football then, the season is just about to start. Has this been, I suppose pre-season for you guys is nearly more intense than it is for the clubs, with player deals and all sorts of things, people being registered. What are the last few weeks coming up to the season like for you?
Pretty hectic if we're being honest, but I think for whatever reason this summer it seems to be the longest close season we've had in a number of years. I think there's a number of reasons for that. We had a fantastic end to last season at all levels in our leagues. That you really whet the appetite for more, and to have a 2 or 3 month gap doesn't help. For us, it's been a very busy, close season. We've been working hard with sponsorship deals, etc. We have been working hard to also increase our staff team with a new marketing communications executive starting in the next few weeks. But yes, you're right. You get the last minute phone calls, panics from clubs about this player, about that player. Have the rules changed? Rules seminars with clubs, which are probably the most boring hours that we give clubs, but all essential and all necessary. So I think, you know, fans and players and managers can't wait for it to start. We probably can't wait every bit as much as them.
I'm sure I agree with you there. I mean, what went the close season is painfully slow sometimes. So you're just buzzing for everything to kick off. Then I take it.
Yeah, no, it can't come soon enough. You know, we're only 24 hours away from first games. We're 48 hours away from the next set of games. So cannot come soon enough. You know, as staff and as people who are involved in the game, you know, we love it every bit as much as the fans and the players. And it's much easier for us to be going to games on a Saturday than potentially being, you know, dragged around IKEA or something. So getting back to matches all over the country suits me.
Brilliant. Well, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us on LDTV, and I'm sure we are as looking forward to the season as you are. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
So this Saturday we see the first full set of fixtures in the Bluefin Sports Premier Intermediate League. As we can see as we look at the fixtures, there are two important derby games. First of all, where Tobermore take on Royal Park, and secondly, where Donegal Celtic travel to Sport and Leisure.
Next up for Lisburn Distillery is a home league game against Queens here at New Grosvenor this Saturday. So Colin, what's your thoughts on that one?
Interesting. We played them a few times last season. We came out on top most of the times. However, the very final game of the season, we went there and they gave us a good hammering, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. So it should be a good game.
Yeah, this Saturday, August the 19th at New Grosvenor, 3 p.m. kick-off. As ever, we would love to see you down on the day, showing your support.
So that brings us to the end of this, the Lisburn Distillery TV weekly review show.
If you would like to get in touch with the show, contact the email address showing on the screen now.
On behalf of me and myself, just to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you who have tuned into today's show. I've been Colin Hopkins.
And I've been Maeve Brennan. Come on, you whites!